All right, so really quickly, just to give context for the video that we're going to watch, I'm going to go ahead and show you one other video, just so you can kind of see what's actually happening in New York in terms of these squatters. Recently, there was a woman who owned a house. She inherited that house. Someone broke into said house. They are squatting in said house. She goes, change the locks. The cops come, and they're like, you can't change the locks on your own house. We're going to arrest you. And they arrested her. So that's basically what's going on. We're going to go ahead and show you the footage of that now. All right, let's go.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested.
For what?
For being in my own home.
Yep. 30 days, guys. Okay, at which point it becomes illegal for the homeowner to change the locks and turn off the utilities or remove the tenant's belongings from from the property. I see I'm blocking it, that's why. All right, and then basically she was forced to file an eviction through the courts. All right, so it comes just weeks after a Queens couple wasn't able to move their disabled son into a new home because squatters claimed to have an agreement with the previous owner. All right. All right. So basically, the gist of this is there are absolutely crazy things happening currently in Manhattan, guys. Right? So the real reason we're all here. Apparently, New York has decided to change the definition of what a tenant is, right? So they can hopefully prevent some type of squatting situations, right? And this is a suggestion via Discord, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
We begin with this Eyewitness News investigation into squatters that has attracted international attention.
You don't know the law. Yeah, there's laws. You shouldn't be trying to steal my house. Yes, you are.
Our cameras capturing that standoff between an accused squatter and a homeowner last month. The video went viral. It even caught the attention of the Queens District Attorney, who decided to take legal action. Investigative reporter Dan Kraut breaking the big story, and here now with a development that happened late last week. So what's up now?
Well, the Queens DA watched our investigation and launched an investigation of her own, which pretty much flipped the script on the story. In our original story, it was the homeowner who was arrested and taken away in handcuffs for protecting her own home. Right. This time, the accused squatter was in handcuffs, appearing before a judge in court.
Brian, anything to say about what happened today?
Accused squatter Brian Rodriguez walked out of the courtroom with his head and eyes covered. But he wasn't camera shy last month when our cameras were rolling.
Exactly.
During a standoff he had with the homeowner. Adele Andaloro says Rodriguez moved into the Queens house she inherited in the middle of the night and refused to leave.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested.
For what?
For being in my own home.
And guys, keep this in mind. She was very quickly released. And to my knowledge, she still doesn't even have this house. If we look up the actual current thing that's going on with this woman here, because apparently this dude here, the guy that's now arrested, rented out rooms in the house.
Police arrested her for changing the locks on her own home, something you can't do if someone claims to live there for 30 days.
Right.
They later dropped the charges, and the Queens DA started investigating after seeing for herself what happened.
We have the benefit of time, right? We're lawyers, we're not police officers.
In the courtroom, prosecutors charged Rodriguez with burglary, grand larceny, and possession of stolen property. His attorney told the judge he's the victim, claiming he signed a bogus lease with an unnamed real estate broker.
Really?
When we asked him for a copy of that lease last month, he wouldn't show it.
Show us the proof.
Well, who are you for me to show? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show it.
Cool. Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
Right,
He pulled up a
he showed him a bill.
document. It wasn't a lease.
This is a bill.
And after court, we asked again.
Where's the lease? Do you have the lease or the paperwork that he claims he had?
A disgrace.
That was his attorney's response. His client faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted.
You can't.
Think of an attorney that knows he's being recorded, then reaches out and purposely assaults the person with the camera. You're an attorney? Well, I mean, I guess if he's defending him, then I guess that makes all the sense in the world that he's somewhat troubling.
Walk into a house that's not yours and claim you have a right to be there. I thank the media for all the attention that they have given to this story and for being here today, because I do think it's an important message to send.
Rodriguez is now wearing an ankle monitor, and a judge ordered him not to have any contact with the homeowner or the home itself that's in question. But, Mike, here's the problem.
Yeah.
The house is still not empty. Prosecutors say he was renting rooms in the house out to other people to make money. So we actually don't know what's going to happen with the people inside the home. They're either going to leave or the homeowner might have to take them to housing court to try to get them evicted.
That is
each one of them individually.
so frustrating. Just when you have one victory, more challenges to come. So what does happen next?
Well, he's going to be in court again next month, and this could be a long process. He is facing up to 15 years behind bars, so we'll have to wait to see what happens.
Yeah, he needs more time than that. I'm sorry, bro. You can't just walk into someone's house and think you can take it.
Now, you first brought us a story on Mornings at 10, actually, on Eyewitness News about this family that inherited this home. It was like $2 million home. And then they were trying to fight because somebody was squatting in their home. Update us on that original investigation dealing with squatters.
Yeah, that's the investigation that launched all of this like 2 months ago. The Landa family thought they were going to court last week for a resolution of the case. Instead, they were faced with more delays. You take a look at this home right here. You probably remember it. The Douglas and Queens home that they purchased for $2 million back in October, and they still haven't been able to move in. The caretaker right there, the former owner, Brett Flores, he refuses to leave. He says he has a license to be there from the previous owner who died. Now, last week in court, after a half dozen other hearings, Flores added a new attorney to his team. Also, there's now a new judge signed to the case, so that's another delay. And now Flores' attorneys are considering a possible trial by jury. His attorney telling us the Landas agreed to pay him $140,000 to help with the sale of the home, and Flores says he needs the money.
Bro, imagine this doesn't happen. No, well, how about this? This does happen pretty often throughout the United States of America, but generally in overpopulated areas, let's say, right? But there are people who will pay squatters to leave. Right. And that is just, listen, they're already breaking into your house. And then you have to pay them multiple tens and tens of thousands of dollars for them to leave.
Mr. Flores, why won't you just move out? Seems pretty simple.
My lawyers are speaking on my behalf.
He needs the money to procure adequate housing for his family.
$100,000?
Once he gets that money, there's nothing more he wants to do than leave.
Come on,
Landa's
bro.
told me right off the bat that they did offer him tens of thousands of dollars after months of court delays to try to, get rid of this problem, and he refused the money, saying that he wanted more.
So it seems like it's not just about the money here. He's trying to draw this out as long as possible.
It's hard to get inside his head, but I've heard of numerous squatting cases or cases like this in the tri-state area where the homeowners paid off the person living there just to not have to deal with the court process.
Well, let's talk about all the other cases, because this really sparked action not only from the district attorney in Queens, but also at the state legislature level as well. We talked about this proposal for a law to close some of these loopholes. Since then, there have been others added to the effort. What do we know about this?
Yeah, after our reports, 4 laws have been filed by 4 different lawmakers. 3 of those are state laws. They would change the way that the state operates when it comes to if you have a squatter case. So it would allow police to remove the squatters instead of having to go through housing court. Those are still facing some delays because right now they're focusing on the budget. So we'll wait to see what happens with those. Meanwhile, there's a city council bill that has been filed or is about to be filed that would allow police to categorize and count how many times this is happening so we know how big of a problem this potentially is.
Yeah, Mayor Adams has spoken out about this.
Yes, he's actually spoke out in favor of it, saying we have to do something to protect small property owners. Have a listen.
A woman's home is her castle. And I think it's imperative that we continue to protect that. There was a reason that squatter laws were put in place. And, I think people are starting to exploit what some of those reasons are. I always get concerned, your largest investment is your home. That's your largest investment.
We have to get rid of the 30-day rule. The 30-day rule is insane.
30-day rule is where it's at, because once someone says they've been there for 30 days, you can't change the locks on them, you can't turn off the utilities, and you can't remove the belongings, or you could be arrested.
And here's the thing. I do like the idea of changing the word or the definition of tenant, specifically in New York. I love the idea of that. I think that should probably be widespread nationwide. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm like, wait a second, hold on, guys. People are definitely going to take advantage of it in negative ways. There would be some people who are like, I can get probably 1,000 more for this apartment. Let me go ahead and evict these people for no reason.
That's the situation we're faced with today.
Yeah, so frustrating. I know you are still fielding people reaching out to you, messages and calls and all of that. We have about 30, 45 seconds left. Remind people, if they're in a situation where they're owning a piece of property, they expect to be away from that property for maybe those 30 days. What can people do right now to prevent something like this from happening to them?
Cameras, cameras, cameras. They say have a surveillance camera. If you spot someone in your home, get them out within 24 hours with a timestamp on your camera showing police, hey, they just got here 4 hours ago, to show that they haven't been squatting for more than 30 days. So police can remove them as a trespasser and not have to deal with a squatting situation that would then be turned over to housing court, which could take years to get someone out.
So frustrating. Hopefully your stories will spark this change that is much needed, and all of those reports right now, ABC 7 NY. Dan, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Again, I definitely want to kind of reiterate this here. I love the idea. Like, for the people who generally just skip to the end, let's talk about this here. There definitely needs to be a drastic change in tenancy, like specifically how it's referred to. Specifically, if in New York there's a 30-day like grace period, that's ridiculous, bro. All right, that cannot exist, specifically in these crazy times. Like, I understand, like, listen, there's a housing crisis going on. People cannot generally afford to live a lot of the times here, but you cannot walk into someone else's property and claim it as yours. It is what it is. But also at the same time, there's kind of a big threat here, because what happens if a landlord decides to be just completely spiteful and just want to get someone out of the property because they know that they can get someone else in there that'll pay more, right? That's when things get a little tricky for me personally. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.